So guys, getting back into Doom Metal, what we're seeing now is pretty much Nightwing's team has revolted against them. Not in their own will, right? Because what happened last issue, we saw a team of heroes. We got Nightwing, we got Bobo, Detective Chimp, and we got Hawkgirl, we got Starfire, Cyborg. Starfire and Cyborg joined last issue in issue number 54 of Justice League, with this Justice League number 55 now. But what we saw is they went to the Valley of Starros. Now, the Valley of Starros, you don't just go through the Valley of Starros. You don't, alright? And Lex knows this. But the problem was that the team of heroes didn't trust Lex, so they left him behind. Which you can't blame him, because Lex is the bad guy, he caused all this, he caused the year of the villain, he became Apex Lex, he did a lot of bad things. And Hawkgirl hates him so much. They went to the Valley of Starros, and what happened for there was they all got controlled, except for Nightwing, because you guys remember, he got shot in the head, became Rick Grayson, and his mind is still recovering a little bit, right? He's Nightwing again, but his mind isn't as vulnerable as, say, the other heroes. So they're all controlled, attacking Nightwing, but that's when Lex showed up, saved Nightwing, and they have a team up. We got Nightwing, Lex teaming up to pretty much fight off against Starro and this team of heroes. Now, Martian Manhunter, he's being pretty much captivity with a Mindhunter, a Batman, and Martian Manhunter hybrid, which is really dope. I really love this character. He's really cool so far, and there's actually a really cool interaction in the very start of this issue, right? But yeah, guys, I'll link down below in the description the previous videos, part 1 and 2 of the storyline Doom Metal. But if you guys are ready, let's dive into Justice League number 55. We begin with the Mindhunter grabbing into Martian Manhunter's mind. Martian Manhunter just screaming, and the Mindhunter says, "That's right, let me in, John. Give me your telepathic connection to the Justice League, and this can all be over. All I want is their plans for the Darkest Night. You don't have to worry about anyone ever knowing you helped me." And he continues with saying, "No one is coming to save you." Now, what we go to is the Valley of Starros. We see Starfire. She's fighting up against Blackfire in her mind. She says, "You are not my sister." Now, we see Hawkgirl going against Martian Manhunter in her mind. We see Bobo going up against the Nightmaster. And that's what we see Nightwing and Lex trying to defend themselves. Nightwing says, "At first, the Starros were giving me visions of what they thought I wanted. But they attacked the moment I rejected them, Lex." And Lex says, "If only you had listened to me, Nightwing, I could have guided you around the Valley of Starro, but instead you went through, and now your team aims to kill you." Now, that's when we see Nightwing, he keeps trying to avoid all these blasts from Starfire. And he says, "How are we unaffected?" And Lex says, "Years before we landed in this hellhole, I toyed with Starro's mind control and built up a tolerance." And that's when Nightwing says, "What about me?" And we see Starfire, she's still fighting off against Blackfire. She says, "My sister and I have moved beyond fighting each other. Why do you pretend to be her?" Now, we go back to Lex, and Lex says, "Your mind, Nightwing, must not be fully rebuilt from your incident. Your fragmented memory gave you escape." So since Nightwing was shot in the head and he's just now recovering, he's not as vulnerable to Starro. Now, we see Bobo, he's stuck in his own mind, and he's talking to the Nightmaster. He says, "It's good to see you, old friend." Now, we go back to Nightwing, and Nightwing says, "But how is Starro doing this? I don't see his drones attached anywhere on them. Even the smaller ones lashed onto your face or neck." And we see Cyborg, he's talking to Silas Stone. Cyborg says, "I'm done fighting, father. You and anything else." And he starts to blast. And we see what he's actually blasting is Lex Luthor. Now, Lex says, "Smaller." And we see Hawkgirl, she goes to attack. And she says, "John and I have a mental connection, so I knew you weren't him." So she knew that Starro had taken control of her mind. Now, we see Lex, he's like, "It's in the air. We're breathing them in." And we see Lex try to defend himself against Cyborg. He says, "Nightwing, help me with Cyborg." And Cyborg says, "Didn't you do enough when you turned me into this dad?" And Lex says, "Sorry, Stone, you're hallucinating." Now, Nightwing says, "What are you doing to him?" And Lex says, "I need to hotwire your friend. This is going to hurt, but Virgo should do the trick." He shocks into Cyborg's body, and he's just big, boom, boom. And what we see from there is Cyborg, he wakes up, he's like, "What the hell?" And Starfire says, "I knew it's not the truth, even if some of me wished it was." That's when Hawkgirl says, "Damn Starros." And that's when Nightwing is helped up by Starro. And Starfire says, "Did I hurt you, Richard?" And Dick says, "Maybe a little bit." And that's when Starfire looks around. She sees Lex, and she says, "What is Lex Luthor doing here?" And that's when Nightwing says, "He saved us." And Hawkgirl says, hold, where's Detective Chimp? And we see this big rumble. And that's when Hawkgirl says, great, now we have earthquakes to worry about too. And Lex says, we need to move. And then Cyborg says, I don't take orders from you. That's when Nightwing says, it's not an earthquake. The ground is shifting, breathing. This whole valley is Starro. It's one giant Starro. So we see the whole valley turns into a Starro and just erupts from the ground. And we see Lex, he starts to run. He's like, run, now. Nightwing gets on his horse. He says, where's Chip? And we see Detective Chip. He's still in the valley. He says, I could really go for a drink. Nightwing grabs him, pulls him onto the horse, and Nightwing says it's not real, Chimp. And Bobo continues to say, I feel like I should have just stayed in the bar with you, buddy. The things I've seen since I took on the sword. It's been hard, real hard. We go into Bobo's mind. He's at the bar with a dead Night Master. And the Night Master says, you could say, put some tunes on the jukebox, throw a few back, and just wait for the end. And Bobo says, when you put it that way, poor me, but then Nightwing screams, sorry, Chip, and Bobo wakes up, he's like, oh, what? No, he screams, and that's when they start getting out of the Valley of Starro, and Hawkgirl says, how'd you catch up to us? Did you follow us across the valley? And then Lex says, no, I took my path, which is, if you have followed me, would have been safer for everyone. But I have our transportation, and they come upon the ship that is built out of the remains of the Metal Man. Now, that's when Lex says, I found the pieces in the Arkham Wastelands. They were easy to manipulate into what I needed. I have christened her Lana. Now, that's when Cyborg says, not a chance. And Hawkgirl says, Cyborg's right. I don't care if you helped us. I'm not going anywhere with you, Lex. And Lex says, again, with this foolishness. And that's when Nightwing says, we don't have a choice, Hawkgirl. I tried to lead, and we went headfirst into a literal nightmare. So they get on the ship, and Nightwing continues to say, if we're going to save Martian Manhunter and free the Legion of Doom from the Mindhunter and Perpetua's Omega Knight, we follow Lex. So they're on the ship, they're going along, and Cyborg asks Lex, he's like, listen up. If you ever mess with my tech again, I'm going to make sure that scar is on both sides of your face. I promise you that. And Lex says, it's hard to be a pacifist in a war like this, isn't it, Cyborg? Then Nightwing says, you okay, Chimp? He's right above Bobo. And Hawkgirl says, it wasn't real. Whatever horror you saw, it wasn't. And then Bobo says, why couldn't you just leave me? He yells. And says, can you even tell the difference between that nightmare and this one? At least in there, the only friend I ever had was still alive. And then Cyborg says, Chimp, you have friends. And then Bobo says, I don't want other friends. And that's when he looks out behind and he sees this big Starro. He looks out at the lake and he says, I've seen too many friends killed, imprisoned, or hurt. I'm done making friends. And look at us, so desperate that we play team up with Lex Luthor to save the Legion of Doom. What kind of heroes are we? Too stupid to see that our old lives are gone? The odds are stacked against us, and we're not coming back from this one. We're done. Then Cyborg says, we come back from a lot of bad things, Chimp. Nothing takes down the Justice League. Then Bobo says, don't you get it, Cyborg? We're not the Justice League. We're the Suicide Squad. Guys, this line just hits home. Bobo looks, and there's a silence. And all the heroes just look up, and Starfire says, then it'll be a good death. If this is our last time together, I'll go down fighting. Then Nightwing says, Corey. And then Starfire says, Richard, we're at war. We need to do everything we can to help the Justice League. Lex, where are we headed? Then Lex says, because you're a reckless endeavor, we're behind schedule and the tides ahead are dark. Then he says, no matter where the journey takes us, there are no more easy paths. And then he says, you can feel the energy in this place. The Battle Last power and control over our world continue to grow. He's always a few steps ahead. We see this whole, Lana, the ship, made out of Metal Man, is going through the lake, right? And they arrive at so many different places, like pretty much a volcano, different cities, and Lex continues to say, once we free the Legion of Doom, I'll get close enough to kill Perpetua myself. But first, we must face Brimstone Bay, our point of no return. Now we see the Legion of Doom, they're trapped. Now we see Nightwing. He says, you have a plan, Lex? And Lex says, of course. We don't go in with power. We must act as thieves in the night. And then Hawkgirl just screams and she falls to the ground. She says, I can feel Martian Manhunter is near. I need to go to him first. And Lex says, no. That could jeopardize everything. We must act now before Perpetua's throne moves again. Hawkgirl says, John needs me. And Lex says, the world's bigger concerns than you being in love. But that's when Hawkgirl smacks Lex in the face with her, pretty much her weapon, hits him to the ground, a big splash of blood goes on her face, and you see a crack. Now, that's when Hawkgirl says, once Martian Manhunter is free, he can help us against the Omega Knight. Get to the throne and be ready. She flies away. And Nightwing says, damn it, we have to catch her up to her. And Lex puts his hand on his jaw and says, no. She's right. Finally, someone else understands. Being a hero always comes with a cost. And we see a Hawkgirl. She comes upon Brimstone Bay. And she says, I'm coming, John. Now we see in the distance, and Bobo says, don't worry, I won't say it that I told you so because you're all gonna be dead. And that's when Nightwing says, it's okay, chimp, I get it. Stay with Comet, which is the horse, and keep watch. Now, we go back to Martian Manhunter, and he pretty much reads Hawkgirl from afar. He says, Hawkgirl, Condra? Now, we see Lex with Starfire, Cyborg, and Nightwing trying to be thieves in the night. And Lex says, Starfire, Cyborg, run interference with the monsters. Now we see Hawkgirl, she arrives. She says, John, what have they done to you? And we see Lex, he keeps running. He says, Nightwing, come with me. And Nightwing says, why? And Lex says, because I need someone who understands how to work in the shadows. But when they keep going through the shadows, they arrive at this big Omega Knight. And Lex screams, no! Perpetual's Omega Knight already knew we were here. There are no more shadows left to hide in. We're doomed. And we see Starfire, Cyborg, they're all just frightened by the sight of this big Omega Knight. It's ready to blast. Now, we see Hawkgirl above Martian Manhunter. She says, how did the Omega Knights? And then Martian Manhunter says, because of you, my dear Hawkgirl. And he slowly transforms into the Mindhunter. And he says, John's guilt keeps him from fighting back, but you were first and foremost in his thoughts. Made it easy to access your connection and call you here. He's full Mindhunter now, and Hawkgirl is devastated. She's shocked. And that's when we see the Omega Knight. He blasts at Lex and Nightwing, Starfire, and Cyborg, and they get disintegrated. And that's when the Mindhunter says, so, Hawkgirl, watch your friends die. And that's how part 3 of Doom-Metal ends. So guys, that was Justice League number 55, aka Doom-Metal part 3. Now that was a really good issue, guys. The artwork by Robson Rocha was really amazing, right? Like the art throughout this whole crossover has been really good so far, but this is probably my favorite artwork so far, right? I really like it. Because he also did the artwork for that whole Black Mercy storyline, that two-parter, that was issue number 51 through 52, which if you see my reviews on that, I really love that storyline. I actually gave a couple, I think I gave one of those issues a 10 out of 10. And that was pretty much one of the reasons was because of Robson Rocha's artwork. So that's already a great point in this whole issue. It has great art. But what about the writing? Guys, the writing was really good. One, seeing Lex involved. I really like Lex in this issue. Just be like, hey, we gotta be like thieves in the night. We gotta take down Perpetua. I'll take down Bound last. I got a plan for this. Just listen to me. I like that. And he sounded like Lex. He had that pretty much how Joshua Williams wrote him fit in his character, right? Now we see our other heroes, Nightwing, Bobo, Starfire, Cyborg, and Hawkgirl. In the beginning, when we see our different heroes fight off against pretty much Starro, and like Starfire going against Blackfire, Hawkgirl against Martian Manhunter, it was interesting, but the most interesting was Bobo and the Nightmaster. Now the Nightmaster, who's his best friend, is dead, right? He died in Dark Knight's Metal. And when we see Bobo, he's actually enjoying a drink. He's actually had a good moment that he hasn't had in a while, right? Because the world's gone to madness, he doesn't like it anymore, he thinks everything's crazy, but he wants to spend this moment with his dead friend. But Nightwing takes Bobo out of that moment, that dream, and they get away from the Valley of Starros. Now, when they get on the ship, which is Lana, which is made like the Mailman, that was pretty cool. That was a cool visual. But when they get on there, that's when they start talking. They're like, okay, we'll do this, we'll win. And Bobo just says, no, we're not. We're gonna die. Don't you get it? We're gonna lose. This whole world is already a madness. This whole world's already crazy, like the nightmares you were just in the Valley of Starros. And I really like this line, guys. Cyborg says, like, hey, we'll make it through. We're the Justice League. And Bobo says, we're not the Justice League. We're the Suicide Squad. Guys, that just hit home for me. That just really hit home. You think about it, because Justice League, they go in, they're heroes, they're always uplifting, they always have hope, they make it through. The Suicide Squad, they're very, like, they can just get killed off at any moment. And they go in expecting to die. So that's what Bobo's saying. It's like, hey, we're going into a suicide mission and we may die. And they all accept that. There's like an awkward silence. And then Starfire's like, well, it'll be a good death. And that fits with her character. Joshua Williams writes these characters so well. And really fits into the setting of Dark Knight's death knell. Alright? I really like how Starfire, instead of being like, no, we're gonna die, it's like, no, it'll be a good death. We'll be like warriors. That fits into her Temerian whole background, right? Now they get over to Brimstone Bay, right? Or, yeah, Brimstone Bay. And Hawkgirl just goes out her own. And the whole part where she smacks Lex Luthor in the face, that was a long time coming. I really like that part. But also, when Lex and Nightwing, they start running and they think they're doing good, but then the Mega Knight shows up. Guys, that was a shocking moment, though. Mega Knight looks dope, and he just kills them. Now, we don't know how they'll get out of this. We know they're not gonna die. Like, they didn't actually get disintegrated, but we'll see how they get out of this. But the stakes are really high. But also, guys, the Mindhunter. I love this villain. He's awesome so far. In the previous issues, I really like him. Because one of the best things about Dark Knight's Metal, yes, you got the evil Batman, but they were associated with the Justice League, right? How it was like pretty much the Red Death, who was like the Flash and Batman hybrid. I really like him. But with this new death knell, it feels like they're just making up incarnations of Batman gone wrong. Like, oh, he did this, oh, this happened, and he became the evil Batman. But I feel like the best versions of like an evil Batman is one that's associated with the Justice League member. And this is perfectly shown here with the Mindhunter. We have not seen a Martian Manhunter or Batman hybrid yet, and the Mindhunter, he's so cool. I really like him. Where he just convinces Hawkgirl to show up and manipulate everything, and almost pretty much in our perspective, kill off the Justice League. Or kill off our heroes in the storyline. I really like it. It's a great cliffhanger, and I honestly hope the Mindhunter sticks around after death knell, because so far in the storyline, he's been awesome. But yeah, guys, overall, I'm gonna give this issue an 8.7 out of 10. I recommend, check it out, guys. It's a great issue, and this is a great crossover. It's a great tie-in. Like, don't miss out on this, guys. We got some comments below. If you read this issue, tell me if you loved it, you hate it, and what's your favorite part, and what do you think about the Mindhunter? And how do you think our heroes will get out of this situation, like this big cliffhanger next issue? But guys, like if you give a big thumbs up and share, make subscribe to my next Justice League comic review, or also my next death knell video. I do the main series, the tie-ins, the crossovers, everything that associates with Dark Knight's death knell. Scott Snyder's and Greg Capullo's main big DC event going on right now. But yeah, guys, thanks for watching, and peace out.